example, if he claims that he is telling Shimon about Levi's actions so that Shimon may protect himself from Levi, who is planning to harm him, v'chol kayotze bazeh u'kemoshen va'er l'kaman, or the like, as we will explain later below. Nevertheless, Shimon may not accept Reuven's report as fact. V'chol shechein imisaper alav divrei lashon hara u'rechilut v'alma. It is all the more forbidden for Shimon to believe Reuven's rechilut about Levi. If he relates ordinary words of lashon hara and rechilut about him without intending to achieve a constructive purpose. Halo kivar beiranu aleel b'shem haposkim. For we have clarified above in Klal 3, based on the poskim, the lashon hara rechilut asur, that speaking lashon hara and rechilut is prohibited. Probably should be are prohibited, but okay. Bein b'fanav uvein shelo b'fanav, whether it is spoken in the subject's presence or in his absence. Afilu al devar emet, and even if the comments are true, ve'im ken afilu im hakol emet kedvarav. As such, even assuming that the account is entirely true, just as Reuven said, shediber alav aloni kach v'kach, that Levi had in fact said such and such negative things about Shimon, af al pi kain hu rasha gamor lefi sipuro v'atzmo. Even so, Reuven is considered a complete rasha according to his own words. Shavar alav de lo telech rachil v'yamecha, for he has violated the prohibition of do not go as a talebearer among your nation. V'lo tisa shmashav, and do not bear a false report from Shemot. Usha'ar lavin v'asin hamavo arin la'el b'tichi ba'peticha, as well as other negative and positive commandments listed in the introduction. V'imkei mipnei rasha ze notzi le'idach mechezkat b'rshuto. If so, since Reuven has shown himself to be a rasha, shall we remove Levi from his present status as an upstanding individual based on what this rasha Reuven claims? al isur lashon hara v'kiyotze bazeh, and to thus say that Levi had violated the prohibition of lashon hara and the like by undermining Shimon? Of course not. B'vadai hechashud alav derichilut v'lashon hara. Certainly, a person such as Reuven, who based on his present behavior is wont to violate the prohibition of rechilut and lashon hara, chashud gam kain l'shaker u'losif devarim, is also suspect to lie or to embellish the facts of a story. Ulahachlif misofo l'tchilato, and to change its details from start to finish. We therefore completely discount Reuven's accusation that Levi had undermined Shimon, and we maintain Levi's status as an upstanding individual. Wow.
So here you have a the Chofetz Chaim is putting forth a halachic argument why it is that in logic why one may not believe a Rechilas report. Because, and even if the Chofetz Chaim says, and even if it is true what the talebearer is saying, that in fact he spoke about him in that way, even if on the face of it what he's saying is turns out to be true. I guess maybe he finds out about it some way or something of that sort. Nevertheless, we know that when it comes to speaking lashon hara and speaking rechilas, the Torah regards it as a violation of the prohibition, even if what the person that's speaking lashon hara says is 100% true. So he says, "What do you mean? Why are you? I'm saying something that I'm not allowed to say. What I'm saying is the truth." And we say to him, yes, but that is the prohibition of speaking lashon hara, speaking, spreading defamatory words about a person who we know up until today is a decent, upstanding person who observes the Torah. Not like you, who you have just violated the Torah, and so you have shown that you don't have regard for what the Torah says. So if you don't have regard for what the Torah says, that you just trample on the isser of lashon hara and rechilas, so why should we even, says the Chofetz Chaim, so therefore why should we even believe that the person, what he's saying is the substance of what he's saying is also true? He doesn't. He'll violate that prohibition as well. What's the issue? And he'll embellish the facts and whatever he is, because he's already shown himself to be someone who's willing to violate the Torah at will. So therefore, you want to know why it is that you can't believe the report of this person who's saying lashon hara and rechilas? Says the Chofetz Chaim, it's a logical argument. It's not. Don't think that it's a paraduma over here, that we're telling you to just shut out what this gossip monger is saying, because even though you know that it's true. How do you know that it's true what he's saying?
Mm-hmm.
He's a Rasha. The Torah regards him as a Rasha. He's somebody who violates the prohibitions of the Torah. So why should he also not? Why should we say that he is telling? He's saying about Ploni, who we know we don't know that he's violated anything. So it's between him and him. Who should we believe? It's not illogical to say that we should reject what this gossip monger is saying, and not accept his report. Okay. Okay. That's what the Chofetz Chaim is saying over here.
Good morning.
Good morning, Alan.
Morning, Alan.
Morning.
Where are you? You're in the dark, are you? Yeah. He's hiding.
I don't know. It's not going on.
All right.
Even yesterday.
Have you got someone there helping you?
Not right now.
No. All right.
Okay, so we're now up to Sif Gimel.
Oh.
Which page is that in your Art Scroll edition?
66.
Page 6. Okay.
Volume 2, right?
Volume 2.
That is correct.
Ve'im hayalo hezek be'iskoi. Now we're talking about a case where a person suffers a damage. We're talking about a damage to his business. Ve'im hayalo hezek be'isko. V'lo nodelo siboso. And he does not know what caused this damage. Okay, so we call upon Roy. Would you like to read for us, Roy?
Okay.
What was that page again?
66,
56.
believing a rumor. You got that?
Getting it.
66. All right. One who has suffered a loss may not believe rumors as to the identity of the person who caused it. Ve'im chaye lo hazek hezek ba'isakor. If someone suffered a business loss, lo noda lo sivoso, and he doesn't know what caused it. Again, Shema Chazik, Hara Gevde, Gimel, Nun, Hara Nede, Mishar. For example, if Reuven had a contract with a government official, Basalik, Asa, and the official dismissed him from his position, Reuven doesn't know whether it was because someone slandered him or Shehasa Matzah Atzamo Avido, or whether the official dismissed him on his own initiative. Or any other such case where Reuven suffers financial loss and doesn't understand the immediate cause. Also, lo lecheshod le'achad me'Yisrael. It is forbidden for Reuven to suspect any Jew of undermining him. Im lo sheyesh alei devarim hanikorim. If, however, there are recognizable signs, devarim hanikorim, that is circumstantial or corroborating evidence pointing to Shimon's guilt in this manner, וכפי מה שיספר לקמן, and this evidence is in accordance with the criteria described below in Sefer 9, and we're in Sefer 3. Ma nikra devarim hanikrim, as to what degree of evidence constitutes devarim hanikarim. Oz mutar lehachalit bilba olav. Then Reuven is permitted to conclude in his heart that Shimon was in fact responsible. Aval lo lehapersido al yadei zeh div overdil kaman. Though he may not harm Shimon based on this evidence, as we'll explain below. V'acha zulke on anashay b'shi'ei lo machaz kilin, none. In the absence of Devarim Hanikarim, we may not suspect Shimon of slander, because we may not presume that people are wicked. See Shavuos 46b. Va'al zeh ne'emar, about such cases, the Torah says in Vayikra 19:15, V'tzadek tishpot amitsecha. Righteousness, with righteousness, you shall judge your fellow. And see the Haggadah in this Sefer, page 68. Va'afilu im shema shehu sivuv lo hachazek. Even if Reuben heard rumors that Shimon had caused him the damage, Afel pi kain ein v'lo lahachazlid adabar v'atar shehu emet. But he may not definitively believe it to be the truth. Va'afilu im anashim asur midabar mariba avor ze im hanecha shor. Furthermore, even if due to this rumor, people confronted the suspect, Shimon, v'amaru lo v'lo gedula osa b'ma sheneshma olav, and told him that according to the rumor circulating about him, he committed a terrible offense. Shehu of Israel, by causing harm to a fellow Jew, V'shosak, and Shimon remained silent in the face of the accusation. Afal pi kain ein lo lahachaliv mata'am ze shadibor emes. Nonetheless, Reuben cannot assume, based on his silence, that the accusation is true. Her name again, She'eman, mitzvahs v'ha'atzil atzma min ha'achashah. Although this is in fact an answer for one to clear himself of suspicion of why he's innocent. Although it is in fact a mitzvah for one to clear himself of suspicion. Min ha'achashad, and explain to the person who suspects him why he's innocent. Ma ha'kasuv, as the verse states, v'hayasem madashem Misrael. You shall be clean of suspicion before Hashem and Yisrael. In Bamidbar 32:22, according to which Shimon should have protested to clear his name. Mikal Mikam Pen Ra Lifnei Ha'Naim. Nevertheless, Shimon may have remained silent because he realized that in the current situation, Shekivalu Olav Lashana Pisha Kol, that people have so believed in the Lashon Hara about him, Yon say him Ludaber Michi, and have so decisively made up their minds that the rumor is factual, Yakaber Blue Mimanu Shum to Shuko, that they will not accept any response from him. To the contrary, Val Kain Kabel Al Atzma Shato Yose Lishtok Bazeh. He therefore may have decided that it is better for him to remain silent at this time. V'hayals mahanala vin v'anam alon vin, and be among those who are humiliated but do not humiliate in response. Shama'in Cheraposon v'anon Meshuben, those who hear their disgrace and do not reply in kind.
Okay, so it's kind of a hard sentence to understand because it's longer than we're usually used to reading. But the basic point, what's coming out from what the Chofetz Chaim is saying over here, is that even if, in regard to this rumor that's circulating about Ploni, that he's the one that did the damage to the one that suffered the damage, and nevertheless, and in addition to that, people came and confronted this individual and said, "Shame on you that you have done this thing to Ploni to cause him to lose his position," and blah blah blah, and yada yada yada, and he is silent in the face of all of this barrage. Nevertheless, we cannot take this as an indication that acquiescence is an admission on his part that he is in fact guilty of this what everybody is suspecting him of causing this nezik to the person, and therefore we have to we cannot conclude that the rumor is true based upon the response of the lack of response of this person who is suspected of being the one that caused the damage. That's the bottom line. Okay, so yeah, he wrote an awful lot over here on the got a long note over here, the Chofetz Chaim, I guess. Okay. Okay, does the art scroll have a note about this section? What the Chofetz Chaim is saying over here below the line?
Yeah. Like from what I just read.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got a scenario. It's got a footnote or two.
Okay, you want to read that? Because you know where the place is?
One of the footnotes doesn't matter at the moment. The other one, the Chofetz Chaim in Pilkins Lashon Hara 610 elaborates that Reuven may suspect that the information is true only to protect himself from future damage. However, when it comes to his general perception of Shimon, we must view him as a without considering any possibility that the Lashon Hara reported about him is true. See, however, note 35, and this is note 6, and scenario D, which is the bottom here. And scenario D says, Naomi applies to a prestigious summer camp for a talented, well-beloved daughter. At the bottom of the letter, rejecting her daughter's application, is the signature of a new assistant director, a woman with a grudge against Naomi's family. Naomi suspects that this woman is behind the rejection. However, without concrete evidence, Naomi cannot assume that the assistant director slandered her family. She's only allowed to consider the possibility that her suspicions are true and look into the matter further to protect herself in the future.
Okay. All right. Okay, so Sif Dalid. And we go to
Yes.
Lou to continue. Or we go to Alan. You able to read, Lou?
I could read today.
Okay.
There's a long hagaha. So I suppose we might as well skip that. I don't know. Have you got that too, Rev? I don't know.
Yeah, and I see that there's a long. That's yeah.
Yeah, all right.
I thought that
Then, so we'll go on to Daled then. Is that right?
yeah, we'll go on to Dalid.
Okay.
Okay. Note as well that the prohibition against believing Rechilus applies, even if Reuven heard from two or more people, or from a rumor that is circulating in the city that Shimon spoke negatively about him, or did such and such harmful thing to him. It is still forbidden for Reuven to accept the information and believe it to be true. Furthermore, even if the two speakers claim that their intention in informing him is for his future benefit, so that he may take precautions against being harmed, in which case their words do not cause them to be classed as Rishayim, it is still forbidden for the listener to believe their report as fact. He may only take measures to protect himself, as we explained above in Sif 2. There's a footnote. For two witnesses are believed only in Beis Din, not when they are speaking to an individual. Hence, although Reuven may take precautions to avoid being harmed, he may not believe the report as fact. See further. And then there's a scenario. You want me to read the scenario?
Yeah.
Two brothers work for their father. A third, the youngest, joins the company. The father confides in the older brothers, but the youngest is behaving childishly and may not be able to stay with the company. To save their brother from losing his job, the two older brothers tell him what their father said. Even though they are speaking for a constructive purpose, and therefore not considered Rishayim, who should not be believed, the youngest son cannot believe that their account is completely accurate and truthful. He can only act to protect himself.
Okay. So, what the impression that I'm getting in reading the Chofetz Chaim over here is he's saying over and over and over and over. You're probably getting that impression also, that whatever you hear, which is something negative about what Plony is doing or trying to do or may do or is planning to do to you, you're not allowed to believe it, and under any circumstance. But the only thing you're really allowed to do is to take into account if it would be true what this person is telling me, then I had better protect myself against this individual, and make sure that to protect myself so that he doesn't cause me any harm. That's the only response that you're allowed to have. Otherwise, you're basically required to regard this that the speaker is telling you about as a fine, upstanding individual, and that's all. You're not you can't conclude even if there's two people that come and tell you the same thing that he's trying to do to you. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. You're not allowed to believe it. You're not allowed to believe Rechilas.
I assume that if a report is inaccurate, or if the information is untrue, it's not necessarily so that the person conveying that information is doing it deliberately. You could be doing Rechilas with information that you genuinely believe to be true.
Well, you're talking about the person who's saying the Rechilas?
Yes.
What about him?
That it's possible he could be doing it deliberately, lying, okay? Or he could be putting over what he thinks are facts, but are themselves not true, but he thinks they're true. So he's not deliberately trying to harm anybody, but nonetheless, he's saying Rechilas and it's inaccurate.
Okay, but all right. In other words, you don't have to. Okay, it's an interesting point. In other words, he's spoken about this actually, why it is that you're not allowed to believe the Rechilas, and one of the reasons is because the person who's saying Rechilas is now regarded as a Rasha. Mm-hmm. So you're saying maybe he's not regarded as a Rasha because he's simply mistaken about what he's saying? Possibly.
I don't know about how to regard him as such, but what to regard him as. But I'm just saying that he's giving over information that itself is completely inaccurate or completely untrue, but he thinks it's accurate. He thinks it's true.
Well, I don't think you should give you should be done.
But is there any benefit in this in the person that he's speaking to? Is there any benefit for him to hear this information, even if it would be true?
I'll say no. I'll just say no, just for the sake of saying no.
So only the Chofetz Chaim already told us before that even in the case where the speaker is telling the listener that I'm telling you this, you should take into account what I'm saying and take the necessary steps. I'm saying it for your own good. Mm-hmm. So like that, said the Chofetz Chaim, that the speaker would be taking himself out of the category of speaking forbidden rechilas. In that case, he's intending to say words in order to protect the person that he is speaking to, not to say negativity and defamatory words to knock down the person and to cause hatred between the one who he's speaking to and this person that he's talking about. Mm-hmm. So even in that case, says the Chofetz Chaim, the listener is not allowed to believe it. Right. Even in that case. Mm-hmm. All the more so the Chofetz Chaim is saying it doesn't make any sense to believe him if he's just saying plain unadulterated rechilas without any benefit ever. Then the person is suspect. Why should we believe anything that he says? he's transgressing on the Torah. Why should we believe that if he transgressed this prohibition, then he would have any issue with transgressing the prohibition of midvar sheker tirchak, to not go around saying things that are not true? So far, I'm saying we're still we're still waiting to hear a scenario where we're allowed to believe that the rechilas that's being told to us is true. We're still waiting for that. We haven't seen it yet.
Are we going to?
We'll see. We'll keep up the suspense. Keep to it. If I tell you the answer, then you'll close the Sefer. I don't want you to do that.
No.
No, just joking. I know you wouldn't do that. Okay.
11:25.
11:27. Okay. Do we have any interesting notes that the art scroll tells us on that sif that we just mentioned over here in Sif Daled?
No.
I already read you the footnote in the scenario.
Oh yeah, that was it. Okay, very good. Okay. All right.
I would be
So-
interested, Rabbi, in hearing examples of the difference in the way a person acts if he believes it versus he doesn't believe it. Because if you're supposed to protect yourself, so what's the difference whether you believe it or not? What's the nafka
The nafkamina is if a person believes the information that he's hearing, he can't help but harboring a hatred and an enmity for this individual who's out to undermine him, and he believes that he's out to undermine him. And so then it's a psik reisha that he's going to be in violation of the prohibition not to hate a fellow Jew for no good reason. And once he's over on that prohibition of hating a fellow Jew for no good reason, he could make a machlokes with the person. He could start a feud. He could even try to get back at him, to take revenge against him, to bear a grudge that he's trying to do this to him. All sorts of things can happen when people suspect and believe that other people are out to get them. And so we can understand very well why the Torah tells us that you're not allowed to believe it. Very, very practical. But the Torah is also practical to say that doesn't mean that you can't take steps to protect yourself. That's the Torah doesn't say you have to stick your head in the sand and say I see no evil. That's not what the Torah says.
If I hear that Plony is a thief, and the president of the shul calls me and says, Plony is coming to visit our community, and we need a place for him to stay. Do you have room? So I can say to myself, I don't believe absolutely that he's a thief, but I'm not going to have him in my house because I'm going to protect myself. Correct?
Okay, well, you mean maybe he's gonna, on his way out, he's gonna steal the candlesticks?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Okay. Uh-huh. Okay.
Had a good example of how I'm protecting myself even though I'm not believing it.
In other words, you can refuse to do the the grounds that you don't, that you're concerned that you may suffer a loss as a result of doing this mitzvah.
Right. And he's suffering. He's suffering because I'm not going to host him.
Well, that's a side. That's an indirect cause. The main thing that you're doing is you're protecting yourself.
Right.
So you're allowed to protect yourself from people that you heard reports about them that they are thieves. Yeah.
So now, let's say my neighbor calls me up. I tell the president, no, I don't have room. So now my neighbor calls me up an hour later and says, I'm thinking about hosting Plony. Do you know anything about it? What do I say?
Can you relate the lashon hara that you heard about him?
Right.
So this is a case where you would be relating to him what you heard about him. Just a minute. Just a second. Oh, we're out of time in any case. Okay.
Tomorrow.
All the best, everybody. We'll be back soon.
Be well. Have a
Ken,
good
Ken.
day, everybody.